The Haunting of Vintage Barbie. In the quaint neighborhood of Millbrook, nestled between towering trees and friendly neighbors, there was a small, dusty attic that held a chilling secret. Amongst the forgotten treasures of old toys and antiques, there lay a box covered in cobwebs and mystery. Little did anyone know that inside this box, a vintage Barbie doll slept, waiting for someone to find her. It all began when Sophie, a curious teenager with a love for all things vintage, decided to explore her grandma's attic. She was on a mission to find something unique for her history project at school. As she rummaged through the clutter, her eyes locked onto that mysterious box, its faded pink color peeking through the dust. Sophie's heart raced with excitement as she carefully pulled the box closer. With trembling hands, she brushed away the cobwebs and opened the lid. There she was, the vintage Barbie doll, dressed in an elegant evening gown, her perfect plastic smile frozen in time. Feeling an odd connection to the doll, Sophie decided to take her home, unaware of the darkness that lurked within the doll's past. As night fell, Sophie placed the doll on her nightstand, admiring its timeless beauty before drifting off to sleep. In the middle of the night, Sophie woke up to an eerie feeling as if she was being watched. Her eyes darted around the room until they landed on the vintage Barbie, whose once frozen smile seemed to have shifted into something more sinister. Afraid that her mind was playing tricks on her, Sophie closed her eyes and tried to go back to sleep. But she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was very wrong. Just as she was about to convince herself it was all in her imagination, she heard a faint whisper, a voice that seemed to come from the doll. "Play with me, Sophie," it murmured. Her heart pounding in her chest, Sophie opened her eyes, and to her horror, the doll was now standing upright on her nightstand. Its plastic eyes glimmered with an eerie glow, and its hand reached out towards her. Terrified, Sophie pushed the doll away and stumbled out of her room. She tried to explain what had happened to her parents, but they dismissed it as a bad dream. Little did they know that the nightmare had just begun. As the days passed, the doll's presence seemed to grow stronger. It would move from place to place when no one was looking, and Sophie could hear its whispering voice at the edge of her hearing. The vintage Barbie seemed to know things about Sophie that nobody else did, things she had never shared with anyone. Sophie's behavior started to change. She became withdrawn, losing interest in her friends and hobbies. The doll seemed to have a hold on her, manipulating her thoughts and actions. Her parents grew concerned, but they couldn't fathom the true reason behind their daughter's strange behavior. One night, as Sophie lay in bed, unable to escape the doll's haunting gaze, she made a chilling discovery. In the dim light, she noticed that the doll's smile had widened, stretching to an unnatural length, revealing sharp, tiny teeth. Terrified and feeling trapped, Sophie knew she had to break free from the doll's malevolent grasp. With the help of her best friend Emma, they researched the doll's history, hoping to find a way to rid themselves of its haunting presence. What they discovered was shocking and disturbing. The vintage Barbie had once belonged to a girl named Emily, who had mysteriously disappeared decades ago. Rumors circulated that the doll was cursed, and its malevolence had caused Emily's vanishing. Determined to break the curse, Sophie and Emma sought out a local expert in paranormal activity. Armed with sage and ancient rituals, they returned to the attic, ready to confront the doll's evil spirit. The air grew heavy as they began the ritual, and the doll's eyes glowed with an angry red light. The room filled with whispers and eerie laughter, but Sophie and Emma stood strong, refusing to be frightened away. As the ritual reached its climax, the doll's plastic form started to shake violently, and a gust of wind swept through the attic. Then with a final burst of light, the doll's malevolent presence was gone. Sophie and Emma breathed a sigh of relief, knowing they had freed the spirit of Emily from the doll's curse. They vowed to keep the doll hidden away, never to disturb its haunting slumber again. But even now, Sophie can't shake off the feeling that the vintage Barbie's malevolence still lingers, waiting to be unleashed once more. And so, she keeps her attic locked, hoping that nobody else will ever stumble upon the chilling secret hidden within. So next time you find an old box of toys in your attic, be cautious, my friends. You never know what restless spirits may be lurking within the vintage treasures of the past, waiting to be awakened by curiosity and desire.